Without awareness, there can be no change. You can't heal what you don't see. You can't shift what you're not aware of. And you can't become the person that you want to be without first becoming aware of who you are right now. Hello and welcome to the Gratitude and Growth Podcast, your compass for a grateful and growth-filled life. I'm your host, Sarah Mittich. I'm an actor, a transformational life coach, and the founder of Gratitude and Growth. But above all, I am a wildly curious person, and I have spent over a decade researching and studying the worlds of mindset, somatics, spirituality, and self-discovery. All to understand why we do what we do, who we innately are, and how we actually become the person that we want to be. So whether you're driving or walking, or just taking a break from your day, thank you so much for being here and for joining me as we explore what it is to be a human being in this lifetime. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. Today, I want to dive into something that I believe is at the root of all transformation. It is something that has shaped every single change I have ever made, big or small. And that something is awareness. Because the truth is, without awareness, there can be no change. You can't heal what you don't see. You can't shift what you're not aware of. And you can't become the person that you want to be without first becoming aware of who you are right now. So let's dive in. For those of you who have been listening to the podcast since the beginning, especially season 1, episode 1, who I was, you know my story about my summer of sadness and all the events that summer that changed everything for me, that brought me to my sudden moment of awareness, that brought me to the sudden realization that I wasn't who I wanted to be, that I was wrapping up my life, my value, my worth in everything outside of myself, in how fit my body was, in what my partner thought of me, in how beautiful people perceived me as, in how successful people perceived me as from the outside. It was the awareness that I was trying to constantly prove my worth. I was operating from a place of a constant need to prove. I was a people pleaser. I was always trying to save everyone around me. I was making their happiness my responsibility. And that I was exhausted trying to be who I thought I should be for everyone else, instead of being who I actually was and who I wanted to be. I had to admit to myself that I was done. That I was fed up with how I was showing up in the world. And that awareness, that honesty, as brutal as it was, ignited my greatest transformation. And it's led to everything that I do inside of Gratitude and Growth and in my life in general. Here's the thing. Awareness interrupts our autopilot. For most of us, we're operating from habits, patterns, old conditioning that we didn't necessarily choose, and we don't even realize it. We think we're making conscious choices, but we're actually not. We're actually just replaying old scripts. Awareness is the moment that we pause and say, wait, why did I react like that? Wait, why did that trigger me? Wait, what's really underneath this feeling? Why am I sad right now? What made me feel small in that moment? What old beliefs and stories am I still living today that aren't even relevant in my life anymore? What story am I still holding on to from 10 years ago that has nothing to do with who I am today? That's what awareness is. It's asking those questions and being brave enough to sit with the answer. Because make no mistake, awareness takes courage. It takes courage to turn the mirror inward and ask ourselves those things when everything around us is screaming to keep going, Stay as you are. Numb it out. Stay on autopilot. Stay the same because change is unsafe and scary. But when you do stop and you do ask yourself those questions, you do interrupt your autopilot, that is when you take your power and your authority back. That's when you stop reacting and you start responding. That's when you shift from being who you were taught to be to becoming who you actually are and who you actually want to be. Awareness isn't just the catalyst for change. It's also the foundation for everything that follows that moment. I want to break this down on a mind, body, soul level. So on the mind level, awareness brings clarity. It helps you notice the difference between your thoughts and truth. It helps you distinguish the difference between your ego, your psyche, your conditioning, and you, the real you, the you that is in there underneath it all. Because here's something that's really important. Your thoughts are not you, but your thoughts do shape your reality, especially the ones that are repeating without you realizing on autopilot. So awareness, again, gives you the space to pause and to ask, what's actually playing in my mind right now? Am I leaning into gratitude, positivity, possibility, or am I leaning into fear, worst case scenario thinking, anxiety, doubt? Because our external world, the way we show up, our thoughts, words, habits, actions, are a direct reflection of our internal world. And the only way to shift that is to become aware of that internal world. Now, look, this isn't about judging your thoughts, your words, your actions. That kind of judgment is also just ego. It's about noticing them. It's just about observing them. And it's about asking yourself, are my thoughts, words, and deeds lining up with who I want to be? And if they aren't, then something has to change. On a body level, awareness helps you notice your physical signals. So for me, this is noticing that when I'm anxious, I clench my toes and I clench my jaw, especially. That I hold my breath when I'm scared. That I feel a pressure in my chest when I'm suppressing something that needs to be expressed. This kind of awareness helps us self-regulate. It helps us physically heal. It helps us ground. It gives us the awareness that we need to reach for a tool. Breath work, yoga, meditation, going for a run, giving ourselves 5 minutes to have a really good cry. This kind of awareness lets us know what we physically need in the moment. It's also really good because if for some reason your mental awareness isn't picking things up, if I'm not mentally aware that I'm anxious because I'm on autopilot, but I'm clenching my jaw, okay, boom. This is a signal for me to know I'm experiencing anxiety, even if my mind hasn't brought that awareness yet. And on a soul level, awareness brings us to presence, my favorite thing in the world, alongside gratitude. Because the moment you become aware, you are here. The moment you become aware that you are people-pleasing, boom, you're here. The moment you realize, I'm clenching my jaw, I'm anxious, boom, you're here. You're not living in the past. You're not bracing for the future. You are literally with yourself in this moment. Let me be real with you for a second. Awareness isn't always easy. In fact, sometimes it is wildly uncomfortable and extremely frustrating. Because awareness doesn't mean that you're going to get it right every single time. Sometimes you'll be aware that you're people-pleasing, and you're going to do it anyway. Sometimes you're aware that a habit doesn't serve you, and you're going to fall back into it. Sometimes you'll be aware enough to catch the trigger, but you're still going to react instead of respond. And that's okay. That's just part of the process. Awareness doesn't guarantee perfection, but it does create progress. And the more you return to awareness, the more you return to that brutal, honest space of noticing, the more your habits, your reactions, and your patterns will begin to shift. It's repetition. It's self-compassion. It's showing up again and again and again with curiosity instead of criticism. But this is the work of your life. This is the inner work. And you just got to keep showing up again and again and again for yourself. Okay. I'm going to start wrapping it up with a mini challenge for you this week, should you choose to accept it. I want you to take 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes. Grab your journal or just sit in stillness. Put the phone away. Turn off the notifications. Just sit and ask yourself one real question. It can be whatever you need it to be, but a couple examples are, how am I showing up these days? What is something that triggered me this week? What is something that I wish I did say to someone, or something I wish I didn't say to someone? What and where am I living from autopilot and habit instead of truth? Just ask and have the courage to listen to that answer. And you don't have to dive in and fix everything or anything yet. All I want you to do is to simply notice, to observe. That's it. Okay. Going to finish it up with one thing I'm grateful for and one thing I'm growing through right now. Right now, I'm so grateful for the moments of awareness and check-ins that I carve out for myself every day, every week, every month. Those moments have led to my own growth and my own discoveries about myself. So I'm very grateful for the intentional moments that I take to carve out for myself. One thing that I'm growing through right now is trusting that everything happens when it's meant to happen and loosening the control reins, sitting back a little bit more in just letting certain things in my life unfold as they're meant. I think, that one pops up a lot for me, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, that's me. All right. As always, thank you so much. And as always, stay grateful and keep growing. Bye for now. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If this episode resonated, send it to someone you love. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and you send me the screenshot, I will send you a free guided meditation called Gratitude for Growth as a thank you gift for supporting the show. Your reviews, subscribes, likes, comments, shares really help me get this content out to even more people. So your support truly does go a long way. You can find the form in the show notes or at www.gratitudegrowth.com. And I hope to see you back here soon as we continue to explore this wild and beautiful thing that we all call life.